Hello, just making another video here. Thought I'd go over some of the different tools and supplies that I've been using in this process. I think there were some in maybe the original video of the bigger shanty. I don't think there were any last time. I mentioned already the varthane in a previous video. So here's some other things. So this is the glue he recommends. It comes in a couple of different sizes. So this is an 8 ounce. Honestly, they'll use quite a bit. This is the 16 ounce. If you can find it in this, it's just cheaper per ounce or whatever to get. But you want you'll want the Titebond 3. You can use the 2. Really, the difference is this is waterproof, whereas the other one's water resistant. Titebond 2. This is for exterior. So the reason you wouldn't just use this all the time is it changes color. It gets darker when it dries, and so if you're making furniture and stuff, you wouldn't want to use it just because it'll show up. But where you're building something with this, and then you're going to basically cover things with glue on, I would definitely want the waterproof exterior grade glue. This is that side grip stuff. If you saw Miss Shanty Fisherman's little post of when I made those windows, I'll be taking those out of my old house and putting them in this one. So when you're gluing all the plexiglass together to make the windows, this is this acrylic. It's called side grip. It's very, very runny, so it's not like you think with like a rubber cement. It's very liquidy, so you got to use like a syringe, and you kind of inject it into your joints and stuff, and that works pretty good. This is what you use to glue the R board onto the plywood. It's this Pro-Lined Loctite 300 for foam board. That's what you want to find, is the stuff that's for the foam board. It's where you glue your R board in. A couple other things here, just some tools quick. You wouldn't have to buy all this, I suppose, to build, but it sure is nice. This is a special clamp that clamps right angle joints together, and this I just have found invaluable when I make my walls. When I go to put the walls together like this, just to put that clamp on there and hold it perfectly square. And so but they're not cheap, so one I think is fine. Then I picked up some of these cheaper ones, and once I get it screwed together, I'll put this on just to kind of hold it in place. I picked up 4 of these. So I use this one to make the first right angle joint, and once it's screwed together, then I'll go ahead and take it off and put this on just to hold it in place, and I use this one to go around. The other thing was, I think I've talked about these before, these party clamps. I got like a box of 25 of them on Amazon. They're just for clamping on like a table to hold a plastic tablecloth on or something, but they work super good for just clamping on the Luan. Miss Shanty Fisherman, actually, when he puts his pieces on, he staples them, and he uses a staple gun. He puts staples in, and then he goes back and pulls the staples all out, and then he finishes it. And I just didn't want to do that, so I have been just using the clamps instead, and for the most part it's worked good. On the up and down walls though, the trim can kind of come loose over time. So I've invested in a electric little small brad nailer, and I'm going to be putting in some 5/8 brads while I put the trim on in the next few days here on my walls. So I will video about that later, because the idea with the brads is you wouldn't pull them out, you would just varnish over them. So I'm hopeful that will work better than just the clamps, because sometimes, especially those trim pieces, it's nice to have a little extra reinforcement there just to hold it in place. Plus, again, I mentioned with the crooked wood, when you're cutting these 3/4 inch strips, they can kind of twist on you, so the brads will help hold it in place while the glue is drying as well, so you can kind of build as you go and keep things straight. So anyway, just a couple of minutes here just to take and explain some of the tools. So I guess I can show you quick here before I sign off. Here's my plans. I'll be trying to make those available once I get kind of all the last minute details done. So anyway, until next time, 11 Myers and counting. Okay, just another little update video here on how the fish house is coming. Apologize for my voice. I've kind of picked up a cold here this week. Been down and out for a couple of days, not feeling well, but got another coat of varnish on the inside, so I got the inside all finished. Like I talked about, just wanted to do the Luan on the inside. And not sure if I mentioned in the previous video, but I don't know whether my boards weren't quite 3/4 inch, or whether the 3/4 inch R board is actually thicker than actual 3/4 of an inch, but I ended up having a gap. So I just took some wood glue and some wood shavings and mixed it together to make kind of a homemade wood filler, and just kind of filled in that gap here, and then I'll sand that down. That's good and solid now. The holes turned out really nice. The corner shelves turned out really nice. So making good progress. just wanted to kind of give an update. Be working on the walls here next, the walls and the roof and all of that. And so just wanted to give an update. So it's looking good. Until next time, 11 Myers and counting. Just shooting another quick little video here. I did end up kind of not taking my own advice. I ripped a bunch of my boards here to do my walls, the upper walls here at the fish house. Just the reason being it's going to be really cold here in Minnesota the next few days. So I needed to do it while it was pretty decent out. And so I ripped the rest of my 2x4s to what I think I'll need. And I didn't measure all my luan correctly. I made a few mistakes cutting it to begin with. So I'm probably going to have to end up buying another sheet of luan in order to do the trim. We'll see here how that all works out. The other thing I wanted to comment on quick is just a couple of tool things. You don't have to have a big table saw like that to do this if you don't want to. Just want to talk about that a little bit. It's probably what I would consider some essential tools. So if you wanted to build this out of the 1-inch board, you could. I've framed different parts of this out of this as I've had it laying around. This would just be like a 1x4 or a 1x6 you could buy. Again, you want to buy good straight stuff to begin with, but then you could just cut it with a circular saw. Another tool I would probably really recommend, I haven't used it on the corners, but just in doing my luan trim, I think it's going to work out great. So this is just a inexpensive Stanley electric staple gun / small brad nailer. It'll do up to 5/8 brads, which is just perfect for doing this. So in another video, I'll be doing the corners here of the walls I'm building, and that'll allow me to glue the little corner pieces on. They'll look like this. This is my old walls from last year's build, and so I will glue these, and then I'll just put a couple of staples in this quick, or actually brad nails, little 5/8 brads nails, and then I'll be able to leave those in there and then just finish over that. And so I'm hopeful that's going to work out really well. Like I said, I've loved how it's worked with the luan to help hold the luan in place. So those are a couple things just wanted to comment on that. I don't think you have to have a whole bunch of stuff. So you need a good drill, probably a cordless drill would be best, a good circular saw. Again, mine's cordless. I do have an old corded one, but the cord's all rotten, but you could get by with that. You just wouldn't be able to rip any 2x4s then. And that just takes a lot of horsepower. Even a cheap table saw at Menards, I burnt my first one up doing that, so you can't really rip 2x4s. You've got to get a pretty good one. So unless you're really going to be building stuff, that's a pretty expensive piece of equipment. But with a jigsaw, a good circular saw, either cordless or corded, a good drill, then cordless drill, and then I would probably really recommend just this. It'll save you a lot of time. It's like 25 bucks on Amazon, and the staples, you buy them in packs of thousands. And so I think other than that, I'll try to have a rundown at the end of this video of all the stuff I would say are kind of must-haves to see, just to be able to build one of these pretty inexpensively. So until next time, 11 Myers and counting. All right, so here to shoot another little video. Today is November 21st, the day before Thanksgiving. I actually went out ice fishing today. The ice around here is about 6 inches thick, and so just wanted to comment on a couple of things. So I ended up using that bed liner paint for the floor, and I do like it. I actually wasn't going to use it. I was going to get porch paint instead, just so I could put it on with a brush, because as you can see, I'll try to zoom in here. I tried to mask and stuff, but I knew that just using an aerosol can, I was going to get overspray, and I kind of like the finished wood look, and I'm kind of particular about that. And so I used what I had because the hardware store was out of the porch paint, and so it's fine. So if you end up deciding you want to use the bed liner paint, it is good stuff. I do really like it. Probably in hindsight would want to paint the plywood floor first before you build anything. So just kind of measure a little bit, and even if you have a little bit of black back underneath the bench, that would be okay. But I would just paint the whole floor, then build your walls and everything, and I think you get along a lot better. You're also going to notice I ended up I found these on Amazon. These are little hinged lid covers for like a kayak or a canoe. Like you'd have a little pouch you could put in there, like for your storage in a canoe, and these twist and they lock. So I don't know, I thought they looked really nice finished. They fit perfectly. They're 8-inch hole covers, and so I've got two. They kind of go up there together. So they both hinge up, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to build just a little shelf that'll sit on there. Like these will be straight up and down, and this will sit here, and then you'll be able to sit your fish finder on there if you want to or whatever. So anyway, gonna get ready to go to bed here, but just wanted to shoot another little video quick on how the progress I'm making. So especially since I able to get out ice fishing, I really am tired of my clam suitcase fish house, so I want to get this done so I can get out there and use this. So anyway, until next time, 11 Myers and counting. So just wanted to shoot another little video here quick on some tools, and I'm making these corners. It's Thanksgiving morning. So I had making comments throughout that I was going to use the brad nailer, and so I made my first corner with that, and it does work super good. So some other tools here I want to show you. This is kind of a special bit that it cuts out this collar. So you drill your pilot hole through your piece of wood, which you really need to do in this thin wood, otherwise it will split. But then you either need to get a special bit like this, and this is a cheap set on Amazon. What it'll do, I'll just show you here quick. It will it'll either you got to make the hole like that, and then you got to take your screwdriver bit on your drill and just round it out, or this one will just go ahead and make that hole. If you can kind of see that, see how that that's where the screw head sits, because you need to have it flush for gluing on your trim. But if you don't have that, again, it'll just split it open. And so then what I did was I cut my corners here. I put a little glue on the back, and then I think I've showed this in a previous video with last year's build, but if you buy no other clamp, definitely you want to buy this. This is I think I got it at Menards or Lowe's or something, and you can clamp and it holds everything at a right angle. And so that's just really important, because again, this wood will have a tendency to twist. But then I put that on there, and you can kind of see, if you look, I shot those brads in there while it was in the clamp, and yeah, that actually that worked super good. And now it's held on there, so I don't need any clamps on that. And I got to put it on when it was good and square, so I didn't have to kind of feel it. So I know that corner is square. So anyway, just wanted to show you kind of that. I guess I'll walk over here and show you. This is what that bit set looks like from Amazon. I think it was less than $15. But it comes with several sizes. I'm actually just using the smallest one just to pre-drill my holes. So anyway, and then these are the clamps I just use quick, just real quick clamp on clamps, just so I can do it faster. So anyway, gonna try to get the other 3 corners done, and then we'll go celebrate Thanksgiving. So until next time, 11 Myers and counting. Okay, today is Tuesday, November 27th. I'm just kind of getting back at it after the Thanksgiving weekend, so worked on a little bit last night and then a little bit this morning here before I go to work. So it's come along good. So I've got this end wall all framed, and it's just held on there by these party clamps. I don't have the hinges on yet across the bottom, so just you can kind of see what it looks like all framed up. And so got the trim all on. You can see the gussets here, and then the trim along each side. And then if you can see this, then so this, how this sits inside, so this trim and this trim are basically flush. So this is the roof, this is where it hinges. So this trim and this trim are flush, and then this fits inside that. So I can't really push that out of there, I guess, but so yeah, so this trim below here is the same width as this, but that's how it overlaps, that's how it seals. And so then there'll be piano hinges underneath it here, and that's how it'll hinge. You'll see all that later. So it's piano hinges on the inside for the walls, and then it's these little strap hinges for the roof, because the roof has to come over the top like this and fold flat against this. So all I've got left is framing down there. I'll frame a box, and then I'll frame in my door, and then that'll be it. So I need 4 more sheets of R-board. So yeah, maybe I can unclamp this and just show you how the roof kind of sits down here then. So see how this kind of lifts up then. So this sits down on top here and then seals. And so I actually had a little math mistake. I was a 1/4 inch off on this back wall as opposed to the front wall. The rule of thumb in construction is measure twice, cut once. I must have been wrong. So I've got a piece of 1/4 inch foam strip in there just to help it kind of seal up a little bit. So anyway, come along good. Just got to get the rest of my R board. I'll be putting that in tomorrow. So today I'm going to finish varnishing the rest of the frame here. And who knows, maybe by the end of the week I'll be out on the ice. So still got to make my windows and all that, but I've got everything else I need here to finish. So coming along good. The floor paint turned out really nice. I really like that. So until next time, 11 Myers and counting.